All right, so it is my pleasure today to introduce our speakers. Scott and Jennifer and Dan weren't able to make it today, so it falls on my honor to do the introductions. My name is Joel Grimm. I've been at Lincoln Lab for over 34 years and have been helping BeaverWorks for the last 4+ years now. But welcome all your students coming into the meeting here. We are very happy to hear two speakers from the DoD STEM office. I'll let them explain a little bit more about what the office does and what opportunities it has, because there are lots of opportunities there. I'd first like to introduce Dr. Kelly Barford, she's got a PhD in neuroscience, but she's also started a company, a co-founder in a STEM education nonprofit called Science Delivered in Charlottesville, working with rural Central Virginia schools. She's also working with the DoD STEM office, but very much engaged in teacher education. She's joined the American Association for the Advancement of Science, Science and Technology Policy, Technology Policy Fellowship Program. That's a mouthful. Supporting DoD technology, supporting the Department of Defense, the DoD. She's currently a contractor with the DoD STEM office. And that's located within the Office of Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering. And so very important work for national defense. We've heard some other talks, both from Lincoln Lab and other contractors and other agencies like MITRE about the important work that happens there. And it's great to have Kelly here with us to talk about this program. I also want to introduce Mrs. Ericka Rojas. She's a senior program analyst at Strategic Analysis Incorporated, serving a dual role right now, providing strategic communication management for support for the Science and Technology Foundation, also located in the Office of Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering, as well as the DoD STEM office. She's supporting the role by developing talent and new innovation, and it's just great to see that what she's going to bring here to talk to us about. She's got a dual bachelor's, a dual BA in both political science and history, with concentrations in Latin America studies, Spanish, peace and justice studies, and philosophy. Much different than the technical background we have for some of other people here that we've heard. And her master's is in public policy from George Mason University. So with that brief introduction, I want to turn it over to both Kelly and to Ericka. And hopefully this will be a very exciting talk, and we're just looking forward to hearing from you.
And while she's got that, so we just want to thank you, Joel and Lisa and Bob and everyone at BeaverWorks for having us here this afternoon. We're super excited to be here virtually and engage with all of you today. So today we're going to be talking a whole bunch about different opportunities that DoD STEM has to offer. And funnily enough, back in my undergraduate days, I also participated in a STEM program at MIT. It was funded through NSF, the National Science Foundation, where I got to work at in a biological research lab at MIT for the summer. So we'll talk about some opportunities like that are funded through the DoD, as well as a whole bunch more. So Ericka, do you want to kick us off?
So before we proceed, if you haven't already noticed, we have acronyms for everything, even some of the acronyms we use as nouns. We will preface the full name before using the acronyms, but feel free to ask in the chat what terms mean in case we're going a little fast, because we want to make sure that you guys understand with what we're saying. So let me go over to the second slide. So this is a very, very brief overview of what comprises of the Department of Defense. So many of you might already know, but the Department of Defense, also known as the DoD, is comprised of the tri-services: Army, Navy, which includes the Marine Corps, Air Force, and includes the recent Space Force, as well as defense agencies like Missile Defense Agency and the National Security Agency and the Space Development Agency, and many more. In addition to having what we call, quote unquote, boots on the ground, each of these services and agencies, as well as the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense, run their own STEM education outreach and workforce development programs, either in their local communities or nationwide. DoD STEM, which is the office Kelly and I support, serves as a central coordination office for all of these STEM efforts. As such, as you can see on the slide, DoD STEM is inclusive of department-wide efforts, which includes post-secondary, college and beyond, and even pre-K through high school. And so the goal is to develop STEM talent through a variety of educational and work experiential opportunities across the pre-K through 20 continuum. These, of course, include programs for students such as this very own BWSI, but also other summer camps, competitions, internships, apprenticeships, and scholarships. Additionally, DoD STEM provides programming for teachers through online resources, professional development, fellowships, and more. So why is the DoD invested in the nation's future STEM talent? Well, the DoD is the largest employer of federal scientists and engineers, and it's critical for the DoD to cultivate a diverse STEM talent pool in order to maintain our national security, but also to strengthen the American economy. The global competition for technological advantage has never been more fierce, and this diverse STEM talent pool can help to solve our nation's toughest operational challenges with innovative solutions. Currently, there are nearly 300,000 STEM professionals. Out of this, 20,000 of them serve as scientists and engineers working on innovative research using cutting-edge technologies at any of our 63 research laboratories and engineering centers, and span over 200 locations worldwide. These STEM professionals, including the scientists and engineers, work in civilian roles, which means they do not serve in the military, but rather are people like you and I, wear the same clothing as you and I, but they still support the DoD. The DoD STEM workforce is instrumental in making sure we have the best capabilities for our warfighters while also being on the forefront of addressing national crises, such as the current COVID-19 pandemic that we're still enduring, unfortunately. Through the strength of the DoD research and development enterprise ecosystem was demonstrated during the height of the pandemic, from developing personal protective equipment, such as face masks and shields, and respirators, to helping to distribute these life-saving items across local communities throughout the country, and even researching human sweat and saliva to help detect COVID-19 positive patients. The DoD research labs and engineering centers and STEM workforce did not do this alone. Many of these innovative efforts were successful as a result of our already established and newly created partnerships with private industry, academia, and partnering with local outreach community organizations. For example, as you can see on the slide, last October, the US Army filed for a 20-year utility patent on their innovation of a novel filtration cartridge for 3M respirators. In partnerships with 2 private sector companies, the Army created an improved design and enhancing filter performance. This call to action demonstrates the power and need for DoD research and development enterprise ecosystem. Recently, the DoD developed the flexible lithium-ion battery technology. Through a cooperative research and development agreement, the Air Force Research Laboratory granted Flex Energy, which is an Ohio startup company, commercial rights to transfer the licensed technology and production knowledge from the laboratory at the Air Force to Flex Energy. According to the company, the battery technology will enable the ability to embed a power source that fits in the traditional expectations of clothing with smart technology. It is quite possible that through this partnership, the future of clothing will include technology wearables. So what we see through wearable watches like Fitbits, it'll have that kind of capability in wearable clothing. And that will help not only the men and women boots on the ground serving in the military, but it would also be able to be used in commercial purposes. So that'll also help with our American economy. Now, the ability to innovate demonstrates the strength of our nation. A lot of the technology available to you today was a byproduct of DoD development. During World War II, the DoD developed the ENIAC, the first electronic computer, using it to calculate artillery trajections and as a method to calculate what the parabolic trajections would be when launching ammunition. During this time, the DoD also developed duct tape. What is ambiguous to us now, and a great tool to fix almost anything, duct tape was developed at the time to keep ammunition cases waterproof. And here are a few other technological byproducts that are now available in the commercial sector. GPS, what is now a main component of our cell phones, even cars. This innovation was developed by DoD for DoD purposes, but it wasn't until the mid-1990s when we turned off selective availability that the private sector was able to take the technology and give you near precise accuracy. This spawned the industry of the mapping aid software. Another example is SIRI. What is Apple User's Interface? This was developed as part of a program within DoD, started at DARPA and the Stanford Research Institute, looking at how we could take the technology available at the time and putting it on a user-friendly interface so that all Americans can use it. Another example is robotics, which a lot of you are familiar through this program. This is a huge area for technology, unmanned aerial vehicle and unmanned ground vehicles. This innovation is now in self-driving cars. There's a huge application for this in cars and through electric vehicles. The DoD has a continued application for robotics too. We're taking a look at how this technology can be used in space, how we can use a robotic vehicle to match up to the satellites in space and fix these satellites to avoid them becoming space junk and literally littering our globe. Now pass it on over to Kelly.
Thanks. So, so Ericka just talked about a bunch of the great innovations, and we want to ensure that the U.S. stays on top in terms of technical capabilities and innovation. So in order to maintain this competitive advantage, we require a diverse and sustainable STEM talent pool. And so DoD STEM actually has a mission statement to inspire, cultivate, and develop exceptional STEM talent through a continuum of opportunities to enrich our current and future DoD workforce, poised to tackle evolving defense technological challenges. So that's great. We are working to be sure the next generation can be literate in STEM and continue this advancement, but we can't do it alone. So DoD STEM actually partners with nonprofit institutions, industries, academia, as well as local and federal government agencies, so like school districts, that sort of thing, all who share similar STEM missions and can reach students and educators from across the United States. So MIT Lincoln Labs is one of those partners. So we're proud to support efforts like Beaverworks Summer Institute, as well as LLRISE, right? Lincoln Laboratory Radar Introduction for Student Engineers. So these are just, a couple of our programs that you all are able to take part in. So DoD STEM programming, in addition, right, to BWSI and LLRISE, so all the programming is guided by our DoD STEM strategic plan. So the DoD STEM strategic plan is actually aligned to the federal STEM education strategic plan, which you may not know existed, but agencies all across the federal government are working to promote STEM education and opportunities like these. So the DoD STEM vision in particular is, again, to create a diverse and sustainable STEM talent pool ready to serve our nation and extend the DoD's competitive edge. To do this, our mission is to inspire, cultivate, and develop exceptional STEM talent. So this department-wide strategic plan, that provides an overarching framework to achieve the DoD STEM mission and vision. And so the DoD STEM mission and vision are driven by federal priorities while addressing and leveraging DoD's unique mission needs and resources. So DoD STEM supports STEM education and outreach efforts spanning from pre-kindergarten through 12th grade, as well as post-secondary from undergraduate to PhD and beyond, including workforce development efforts for both students and educators. So in fiscal year 2020, DoD STEM actually supported and or ran over 200 programs, reaching almost 1 million students and over 30,000 educators. One of the flagship programs that we wanted to highlight for you all today is the SMART Scholarship for Service program. So the SMART program provides full tuition, a living stipend, allowance for books and health insurance, summer internships, and guarantee employment as a civilian researcher or engineer after graduation. And so that's for undergraduate and graduate students. Last year, we welcomed 416 new SMART scholars. Continuing this year, we are centering our focus on strengthening engagement with historically Black colleges and universities and minority-serving institutions to attract more applicants and further diversify the STEM talent entering the workforce. So the application season runs on an annual basis. Again, it's for undergraduate and graduate students. So it's really a great opportunity. It's, again, full tuition. You get summer internships, and it's scholarship for service. So for each year you get a scholarship, you work as a civilian researcher or engineer for that many years after you graduate. So like Ericka mentioned before, it's not, boots on the ground military work. It's working as a researcher or engineer in a DoD laboratory or facility. And the application is annual, and it actually opens next week on August 1st. So, or I guess this weekend. So definitely take a look as you get closer to college. Keep this in mind because it really is a great opportunity. So in addition to the SMART program, we also support other great opportunities for high school students, like internships and apprenticeships in DoD laboratories. So in these programs, you get to work alongside DoD scientists and engineers performing cutting-edge research. So just to pause, I think Bob had put in the chat asking if research labs have internship opportunities for high school students, and they do. So a couple to highlight is the Science and Engineering Apprenticeship Program, which is an 8-week program run by the Navy where high school students are placed in Department of Navy laboratories. There are labs focusing on computer science, programming, robotics, and there are locations all across the country. Another one is Army Educational Outreach Program, high school apprenticeship program. So again, there are program sites all across the country. Northeastern has participated in the past, so there are ones right in Boston too. Air Force Research Laboratory has a scholars program that offers stipends for high school interns, as well as undergraduate and graduate level students. So, those are just a couple of the flagship programs by Army, Navy, and Air Force, but there are a whole bunch more. So you can find out about all these opportunities on our website. So it's dodstem.us. If Ericka, you want to go to the next slide.
Can I just pause?
Oh, yeah.
Feel free to not have to feel like you have to capture this information right now and then you'll lose it. We're going to provide the slides, so you'll have access to the slides after the presentation. So just want to make sure you all are aware of that.
Yeah, and we can also follow up with some of the individual opportunities that we mentioned if you're all curious too. So thanks, Ericka, for that reminder. So to find out about opportunities, you can go to dodstem.us and then navigate over to participate and go to the opportunities tab. So here you can find you can select specific STEM fields. So you can browse the plethora of opportunities. So you can filter by grade level. So you can filter for opportunities for high school students. You can look at internships, apprenticeships, competitions. And we're actually looking at updating this in the future to potentially also include a map where you can find specific programs by location too. So it's a great way to figure out what programs you might be able to get involved in and how you can get an internship in one of those DoD laboratories that do the awesome research that Ericka was talking about earlier. So another section of the website we wanted to share with you was actually the career section. So it's called Explore STEM Careers, and you can find this section by clicking on the Explore tab. So here you can select specific STEM fields and learn about the different types of jobs aligned to those fields. You can also find what internships and scholarships are available in those particular fields, and even hear from some of our DoD STEM professionals about their education and career pathways and the kinds of research that they're currently working on. So that's another great way if you're a little overwhelmed by the opportunities, but you're really interested in, say, biological engineering or biotechnology. You can navigate over to the careers page and look at some examples of folks that are working in that field and find direct links to internships in that area as well. So it is our hope that each of you can continue to pursue your interest in STEM. Again, we encourage you to visit the DoD STEM website, dodstem.us, and take advantage of all the programs that the Department of Defense has to offer. Additionally, you can follow us on social media. So we're on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and we post a lot about, say, application deadlines and other opportunities to get involved. So that's a great way to stay up to date, especially Twitter. I would say that's probably the most up to date and has the the most engagement opportunities on it. So Ericka, if you want to throw up the social media slide. Yeah, so that's where you can go to follow us. We also, when we share the slides, this is only up for a minute, so I'll pause. But the next slide that we'll share with you, it actually has additional websites and social media that might interest you to learn more about DoD STEM. So we don't have to stay on this slide for too long, because we're going to give it to you all, so you don't have to copy all these links down. But we encourage you to follow us so that you can stay up to date with opportunities. And then, finally, we were just hoping we could answer any questions you all have. I see a whole bunch of them coming in through the chat, but haven't quite gotten hold of everything yet. So let me just take a look at some of these quickly. So
yeah, we can have the students unmute and ask them, and get engaged here a little bit too, if you want, Ericka. So.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah. And so I know before, Kelly, you hopped on again, there was a question about, with all of the innovation, how do all these organizations speak to each other or coordinate the innovation? That's a really great question. I don't know that we have the time to fully explain it, just because it's so complex. The DoD is the biggest federal agency, and what we do is just, there's just so many complexities to it. But in a nutshell, Research and Engineering, the Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering, is responsible for technology and innovations coming out of the DoD. Not just coming out of, but also coming into the DoD. So we also work with private industry and even academia on getting rights to their innovations and inventions and novel research that we can use for DoD purposes. And it's kind of like a give and take between the huge, broad ecosystem. And something that, this is another acronym I'm going to throw out there, but we also, as part of the research and engineering portfolio at DoD, we have partnerships specifically with federally funded research development centers, which we have 10 of them, and MITRE, who, Joel, you mentioned before that they had some engagement with MITRE, that's one of them. And then we also have 14 total university-affiliated research centers, which MIT Lincoln Labs is one of those 14. And so MITRE and MIT Lincoln Labs, which both of you have recent engagement with, those are two of our partners in the larger ecosystem that we're talking about. So, so hopefully that kind of gives a gist. A lot of the, the strongest point I would have to say for the ecosystem is that it's not a one-size-fits-all approach, and that it's not just a partnership between us and another organization. It's a collective. So that's the really driving force behind it. I don't know if you have anything else to add, Kelly, and hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah, Aishwarya Udashi, did you want to unmute and add anything to your question? You were the one that originally started it, so I wanted to check.
Yeah, so basically one section is mostly responsible for coordinating the innovations that go in and out.
Yes, that's
that's
correct. Where DoD STEM fits, it's the bigger office that we fit in that's responsible for that. Yep.
And then are the other sections or agencies involved in the detailing or? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so everyone, so for instance, the innovations coming in and out of the department are in coordination. We manage the bigger office that we sit in manages it, but it's the research labs and engineering centers, which we have a total of 63 and over 200 locations worldwide. Those are the ones doing the actual work and doing the details, exactly what you're saying. Yep.
And the only thing to add is there is a lot of collaboration going on. So like, for example, the Navy actually does a whole bunch of research on aircraft because they build aircraft carriers. So they need to collaborate like with the Air Force to learn, so that they can be sure they're working together because all of these different innovations really overlap. So there is a whole bunch of collaboration outside of just technology coming in and out, but a lot of that is on the individual lab level. So yeah, that's just one other piece to add.
It also seems like the DoD STEM is much as a clearinghouse for information from various programs as a coordinator. From a personal note from MIT, there are tons of STEM programs at MIT, and every time I turn around, there's another new one that I try to provide information to, and I suspect that's what you try to do as well, just act as a clearinghouse. We'll move on to the next one. Sophia Zhao also had a question. Sophia, did you want to unmute?
Yeah, hi. I was just wondering, since these are sponsored by the DoD, which is like a government agency, are there U.S. citizenship requirements for some of these opportunities or all of these opportunities?
I can take this one if you want, Ericka. So for some of them, yes, but for all of them, no. So a lot of the ones that are in DoD laboratories, the actual barrier to entry isn't so much about citizenship, it's about being able to obtain a security clearance. So if the project that somebody is working on is classified, or if you need a secret clearance for it, it's harder to get a secret clearance if you're not a US citizen, or at least not at least a dual citizen. I know of a lot of dual citizens that have gotten security clearances without a problem. So it's not usually a requirement, but the problem is that if you get into the program, you may not be able to actually work in a lab if you can't get the clearance. That being said, there are, other programs that aren't necessarily in a lab that you can still get experience with. So there are a lot of virtual opportunities. There are also opportunities that are at like colleges and universities that are funded by DoD, but not necessarily in a DoD laboratory or facility. So for those, you wouldn't need clearance a lot of the times. So it's kind of a complicated answer, but there are opportunities that you don't need to be a US citizen, and that's really mostly linked to security clearances to be able to work on the individual projects.
Niyati Shah had a question as well, kind of related to the first one, but you want to go, Niyati? Would you like to unmute?
Yeah, so I'm a cadet in the Civil Air Patrol, and I was wondering if the DoD STEM has done any work with the Civil Air Patrol or similar programs like JROTC or collegiate ROTC.
Okay, Kelly, I'll take this one. So our office doesn't manage those programs. Our office offers programs that are not, I know this is going to be weird to say because we're DoD, but it's more of the civilian side of DoD. So it's not the military side. But we do indirectly partner with JROTC because that is just of an important aspect to create and develop that diverse STEM talent that we need on the civilian side and military side. So it's not managed out of our office, but we do support it indirectly, if that makes sense. And good for you. Best of luck during your journey with the Civil Air Patrol.
Thank you.
Eleanor Frieden, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, sure. So I was just wondering, for that SMART scholarship, can you get multiple degrees out of that, like in succession, without having to do the work requirement in between, or are you just limited to one at a time?
So that's a good question. Ericka, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can go right from an undergraduate in the SMART scholarship, to a graduate. So it really, the service just depends on the number of years that you receive the scholarship. But yeah, you don't have to do the service in between the two. You can go directly into graduate school, which can also be funded by the SMART program, and the stipend levels are different. So, you get a living stipend as an undergraduate, and then that is bumped way up when you're a graduate student because you have other living expenses, and it's a different degree. And you would still be at the same sponsoring facility. So you'd just be continuing to do your summer internships at the place where you would be fulfilling the work requirement afterward. So yeah, short answer, yes, you can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Doctor, I don't know if you're can unmute and ask your question and just answer it. The question was, are all of these internships over the summer, or are they during the school year as well?
Yeah, I was just curious, kind of if there were some opportunities that were available like during the school year, or if it was just mostly aimed at like summer stuff, or like if there were any like specific grading or like age requirements also.
Yeah, so especially the high school ones are mostly all over the summer. So actually, and undergraduate, the majority of them are over the summer that are working in a DoD laboratory facility. That being said, there are programs throughout the school year. So things like FIRST Robotics, which are, robotics competitions, a lot of other programs that DoD STEM supports run throughout the school year. But in terms of actually working in the laboratory or facility on like a designated project, and you can't be there 40 hours a week if you're also taking classes in high school, right? Or in undergraduate. So yeah, those opportunities are over the summer, but there are a whole bunch of cool things. Clubs, competitions, after school stuff that happen during the year that are easier to get involved in.
I was just going to mention a few more examples of things that aren't internships, opportunities, but that run the course throughout the year, not just specifically during the summer. But I don't know if folks have heard of the National Junior Science and Humanities Symposium. That's a great opportunity for high school students. You'd have to check with your school and maybe folks at your school if they can put you in touch with someone to learn more about those opportunities near you. There's also one of our newest partners, Robo Nation. They run programs from kindergarten all the way to undergraduate, and it's all robotics related and water and robotics related. So for high school, they have RoboX and RoboSub, and so those are just a few more examples of opportunities. And I know that we had mentioned before the start of this discussion, but we are happy to share our email addresses and our general DoD STEM mailbox. If you have any questions at all, let us know. We are here to help. We want to make sure that you all are aware of the opportunities available for you now, and as you grow in your educational career as well. So please don't be shy and reach out to us when you get our email addresses.
I'm going to add that, as I was going to say, I'll take the moderator privilege here a little bit and ask a little bit too. Since we have such a great set of students here at Beaverworks Summer Institute, some questions about specifically like data analytics, right? Data sciences and artificial intelligence. Some of our courses really go deep into machine learning and other technologies like that. What opportunities Or are there opportunities across the board that really will fit those type of skill sets that our students are learning?
Totally. So and I don't have the data right now, but so DoD Science and Technology, they recently released a like national security strategy, but it talks about the important fields, or the fields that are going to be most important to continue innovating and researching for the next 5, 10, 15 years. And AI, automation, robotics, cyber, those are all key fields. So DoD STEM also supports programs to be sure that students that are interested in AI, automation, all of those kinds of areas will have opportunities in those fields. So I will say a lot of them there are some that are specific to that, and I can share those with you after. But a lot of it is also laboratory specific. So when we're talking about those like research internships and apprenticeships and the opportunities to work in a DoD laboratory or facility with scientists and engineers, each of those facilities works on something a little bit different, right? So you could have 30 laboratories that are all working on AI, and they could all be doing something a little bit different. And so your experience as an intern is going to be shaped by whatever lab you enter. But because this is a big priority for the DoD, labs working on that sort of on these sort of topics are all over. So they're all across the country, and almost all of them offer internships or apprenticeships for high school students. And then once you're in college, the SMART scholarship that supports majors in those fields as well, and will actually pair students with a lab doing exactly that research. And that's where they would do their summer internships and the the work after graduation. So if a student goes in and they're like, all right, I want to major in I don't know, AI, robotics, computer science, cyber, the laboratory that they would be placed in would be doing research on exactly those opportunities. So, we do have, yes, there are programs all across there, and I will, after this, can dig into them a little bit more. And when we follow up, we can send you a list of programs that would be good for this group of students to want to stay, interested and engaged in those topics. So Ericka, I don't know if you have anything else to follow up with that on.
No, I think that's great. And then kind of sidebar, but still relating to this overall topic, there's one other section of the website that I want to mention. I'm putting a link here in the chat. We, because of pandemic, one of the successes that have come out during pandemic is how can we showcase all of the innovative cutting edge work that our scientists and engineers are working on. And like Kelly said, a lot of things are classified. A lot of things require you to have a security clearance. So our director, Dr. Pamal Padi, who actually is one of the biggest advocates for DoD support for the MIT Lincoln Labs programs, LLRISE and BeaverWorks here, he came up with an idea of, hey, why don't we use this as an opportunity to create a virtual platform so that anyone in the general public, even folks who work at the DoD, can tune into an hour presentation and learn from these scientists and engineers who have been recognized as innovating cutting edge work in their field, and to showcase that work and to share it with the broad audience so they can see all of the cool things going on. So this link is the DoD Innovators Awardees page. And if you go to register for the webinars, you will find upcoming keynote presentations from our scientists and engineers, and also our advocates who are inspiring the next generation of STEM leaders like all of you. And so our next one is Tuesday, August 9th. And Dr. Darren Charar, he is He is a scientist at the with the Army, and he actually pioneered research that's enhancing thermotechnology programs. And so he is going to present on that work. Feel free to register. Another one that's coming up that's not yet listed on the website, but is going to be there soon, is in October 18th. There, Mr. Jonathan Stroud, he is STEM Advocate of the Quarter Award winner, and he is actually from the Space Systems Command. So space are our newest our newest agency within the department. And so he's going to be awarded on how he has been awarded on how he's inspiring the next generation of STEM leaders. And you'll get to hear about all the things that he's doing, programs that he's involved with. And he is also a former SMART scholar. So he went through the SMART scholarship. So that'll be a great opportunity for you to hear from someone who's working in DoD, who went through the program. And, and this is kind of, I'm going off topic here a little bit, Joel, but I just want to, now that we're all here and it seems like you guys are really eager to learn how you can find out opportunities and get involved and strengthen your educational to career pathway. Be open, to different ways to potentially network and find out opportunities. So one way that we really advocate for is through webinars. It might just seem daunting. Oh God, I have to tune into this other, you can multitask, have it in the background. You never know what you can hear from someone who's speaking. And the SMART program does offer webinars usually on a quarterly basis to learn about the SMART program. So the best way to find out about them is not just our website or the SMART program website, but also following us on social media. We are on all major platforms. Unfortunately, we're not cool enough to be on TikTok. Otherwise, we would be, but we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. There's a whole spiel, but we just want to make sure that we're giving you guys as much information that we can share. Pass it on over, Joel. Sorry, Kelly, that was long-winded.
No, thank you. Excellent. Lots of opportunities there. And one other thing I want to touch on briefly, because it's kind of exciting, is the competitions. I think we've got students here that can hold their own and actually do very well in competitions. And I would like to see them participating in more as a way to kind of really apply their knowledge, because very much in the Summer Institute, the students are using kind of a project-based approach, and to have engaged in the competition afterwards is another great way to keep learning, keep applying what they've learned. So are there some more competitions available through DoD STEM that the students can participate in?
Yeah, absolutely. So the competitions that we support kind of, run the gambit. So I don't know if a lot of you have heard of Math Counts, but that's a mathematics competition, frequently takes place at school. So we're a big supporter of Math Counts. We actually support the math video challenge. So if you may not want to go up on stage and compete directly, but the math video challenge is another great way to get involved, where there's a whole bunch of problems that you can choose from, and together with a group, you creatively design a video that solves the problem in different ways. So this year, I think the winners, I don't remember which group won, but there were videos about solving what angle a triangle was by going on a treasure hunt, or a whole bunch of different creative ways to solve problems. So Math Counts is a really big one. Regular science fairs at your school are another great one. So a lot of schools will then go to regional science fairs. And if you do well at a regional science fair, you can go to the, national one. So Broadcom Masters through it used to be the Society for Science in the Public. Now I think it's just Society. But that's another competition program that we support. That's for students that starts at the local level that then gets elevated to the national level. In addition, the Naval Science Award Program. So that also pulls from local and regional, science fairs. So those are just a couple opportunities. I'm sure Ericka can talk about a few more too. First, robotics, I mentioned a robotics competition. That's also a lot of fun. And I'm just on, let me see, I'm on our website now. So what other competitions do we have? Oh, Broadcom Master. So Army Educational Outreach Program has eCyber Mission. Junior Science and Health Symposium. So Ericka, do you want to talk about those ones a little bit? I know you know JSHS really well.
Yeah, so JSHS, Junior Science and Humanities Symposium, is it's run by the DoD, and it offers students in high school the opportunity to develop and showcase their novel research. It starts at the local level, and then it goes up to the state level and then the national level. And the national level, you have students who have worked on projects who actually end up going to Broadcom Masters, and then who also go to, what's the other one? International Science Engineering Fair. That's another high school level. Yep, ISEF, you got it. And that's a huge one. And so a lot of students go from JSHS to competing at ISEF, and also again Broadcom Masters. And there's also another one that I want to mention. It's not a competition in the sense we're talking about, but this is a new effort that Navy's STEM Education Outreach Office has created called Naval Horizons. They're going to be launching another round this fall. It's where you watch a bunch of videos from people in the Navy who are in STEM-related fields, and you write a short essay on how can you be part of the forefront of innovation for the Navy based on what you've learned from some of these S&Es in the videos. You get, I think, there's like hundreds of prizes, right? And it's like money, and it's also being featured at the Navy level. So I put the link in there, check it out. I know, Kelly, you dropped in more links. I'll pass it on over to you.
Yeah, that's great. I put in the Naval Science Award Program. National Cyber Cop is also one that's run by cyber.org. That's a program that we support. And that's like a Jeopardy style competition. So focusing on cybersecurity and themes, but there's a whole bunch of them that are all fun and great ways to get involved and stay active, continuing to learn.
Well, at the beginning, I kind of implied that there were going to be lots of opportunities, and you did not disappoint. There's just tons of interesting things to take a look at here, and lots of opportunities to do. So at this point, I would like to call Audie Lynn and Chris Elliott up, and we have a little presentation for our speakers.
Hi, okay, so I'm in the Serious Games course with AI. I'm Elliott. And we had previously learned about how the Department of Defense sponsored serious games things to research like a whole bunch of classified stuff and like military stuff. But anyway, it's very interesting to see what the DoD is doing now and like how it's reaching out to also continue improving in the field of STEM. And then Adi has one.
Yeah, your talk was very interesting, not only like as a high schooler looking for more opportunities in STEM, but also like it's very applicable to see how like research that the DoD has done extends to like all of the technology in our lives. And so we'd like to present you a t-shirt, which I believe you should have gotten.
Maybe not yet, but soon.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're due today. But can you guys hold them up and all smile? And Joel's gonna snap a couple pictures.
Great. Okay, I got them.
Great.
Thank you so much. We're excited for the t-shirts to get here, and we're glad you guys enjoyed hearing about some of the DoD innovations.
And I think innovation starts with students, right? And the opportunities that you guys will help support through DoD STEM is just going to continue to drive that innovation economy. So It's great. It is great to hear about this, and it is great work that you do as well.
Thank you, Kelly and Ericka.
Over to you, Lisa.
Thank you all so much.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day
You
and
all.
weekend.
You too. Bye-bye. Students, I just wanted to remind you that on the dashboard is the link for the Raytheon internship. So if you haven't already gone over and checked it out, you should. The application is due by August 19th, and they will be picking students to work in the internship with Raytheon for next summer. So make sure you check that out and apply. And then BAE is announcing their link next week. So that'll be on the dashboard as well. And BAE usually has a pretty quick turnaround as well. So pay attention to that dashboard so you can get some internship opportunities. And that is it. We'll let you guys go a few minutes early and we'll see you on Monday.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.